Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jewel Tolentino here, and in this video I wanted to share with you some actual proof that I sell gift cards online, and I wanted to share my story on how I actually even got into selling gift cards online, mainly Starbucks cards. Like, how does one get into that? Well, I'm going to share with you the random weird story of how this all came to be. All right. So it all started in November 2013, and I had not been selling online at all, selling anything. Yeah, nothing. I hadn't been selling anything online. And I went into my sister's room, and she was cleaning her room. Right? This is a weird story. She was cleaning her room, and she had a pile of stuff that she wanted to get rid of, that she didn't want anymore. And so, I was looking through it and I saw this shoe box. And I opened it and it had a bunch of like Starbucks cards in it, like duplicates, like a whole bunch of Starbucks cards in this shoe box. And so I'm like, hey, Justine, what are you doing with these cards? And I'll show a picture of her. She'll pop up right now. I was like, what are you doing with these cards? And she's like, oh, those are my duplicates. I don't want them anymore. She had worked at Starbucks at the time and she was collecting them. So she said she had a box of these Starbucks cards that were duplicates and she didn't want them anymore. And then I said, oh, well, can I take them? And then she's like, yeah, why? What are you going to do with them? And I said, maybe I could try and sell these. I don't know what caused me to think that thought, but I said that out loud to her, and she said, yeah, right, you can't sell those online. And me and my sister are 1 year apart, so there is a sibling rivalry going on, and we're always competing against each other. So when she said, yeah, right, you can't sell those, I took that as a personal challenge. So I took the cards and I said, I'm going to sell these cards. And she's like, okay, let's see. And that night I went to my room and I put on a movie and I started taking pictures of every single one of those cards. And there was like hundreds and hundreds of cards in there. So I would take pictures of the cards and I started listing them on eBay. I didn't know what I was doing. I had never listed anything on eBay before. I didn't know what price to put them at. I didn't know what title. I didn't know if I was taking good photos. I saw that other people were selling on eBay, and I was just trying to mimic them. So I had no idea what was good to sell, if I was going too low, too high, what. I didn't know anything. So I listed like maybe 10 to 15 cards the next day because I spent the entire night taking pictures because it took forever. So the next day I had listed like 10 to 15 cards on eBay, and all of a sudden I got a bid. Like, I put them on auction and I got one bid for 99 cents. When I got that bid, I knew that, okay, this is for real. And I went crazy on them. I went totally crazy with these Starbucks cards. I've sold about 2,000 American dollars in cards, like 2,000 American dollars, which is I'm Canadian, so the conversion rate, it's like probably 25, 26, 2,700. Our dollar's really bad right now. So about $2,000 in sales on Starbucks cards. Now, you might be thinking, how can you do this? Well, I'm going to be sharing this with you guys in this course and how I actually did it step by step. I basically took a $0 balance Starbucks card, so an empty card with no value. Because whenever I tell people I sell Starbucks cards, they're like, oh, well, there's an amount on it, so obviously, yeah, you can sell that. No. $0 balance, just a blank card, and I sold it for money. So that is the story of how I got into cards, selling cards. It was my sister, really. I mean, she did a little dare with me, and I proved her wrong. I think a couple months after I went so strong with it, I made about $500-600 within a 4-month period, and she was like, "Hey, you owe me some of that money." So she wanted a cut of that after that, but yeah, just to cut it short, that's how it happened, and I'm going to be sharing the story with you guys. Right now, I want to go into some screenshots from my PayPal account of when I actually sold cards and show you like a catalog of all the cards that I've had. So I'm just going to open it up. And I took various screenshots from my PayPal account, and there was a lot to weed through because there was like hundreds and hundreds of transactions. So I just randomly chose here and there. So this was a card, a Starbucks card, sold it for $4.99 US, plus the $1.99 shipping, earned $6.98 in total with the shipping, and it cost about less than $1. Depending on if you get a pack of stamps, you can get it for less than $1. And if you're in the United States, shipping is way cheaper than it is in Canada. So I shipped it for about 80 cents when you get the cards in a pack. Stamps in a pack. So we made about a $6 profit, but if you convert that into Canadian, it's more. Basically, I made money on a card that was free. That is the bottom line. So that is that example, and we'll go to a next one. This was $7 on 2 Starbucks cards. Sometimes I sold them like, there were people that would buy them in a bunch. Like they would go crazy on my listings and like try and buy all of them at once. So there's that, $7.17, $10.49. So you can imagine, like, these are small amounts, but they are in large quantities. So I sold this like $10 cards over and over and over and over again, and eventually it added up to $2,000, if you can believe it, off of a product, off of an item that was totally free. And I will be going through, if you guys don't have access to cards, how you can get them for free, and basically how you can do this for free. I will be showing you that. So let's go through a couple more examples here. This one was for $12.49, 3 cards. To me, it doesn't really matter how many cards I'm selling to per person because shipping is so cheap. Like, it's a card, so it's not a big item. It's going to go into an envelope. It's going into a flat envelope, and most of the time, like 99% of the time, it's going to be just regular letter mail. There were people who would buy stacks, and it would be like in a bubble envelope, but even then, the shipping is still very cheap. All right, so that was $12.49. This one was $17.49, where I sold a bunch of cards. So there's a lot of cards there. $17.49. Shipping was probably $3, maybe, depending if it's in the United States, Canada, or international. If it's going like overseas, shipping at most would be like $4, maybe $5 if it's going to Indonesia or Malaysia from where I am. But even then, you would be keeping at least a $12 to $13 profit or more, depending on if it's local. All right, so this one here, I will also be sharing with you the rare, sort of like the hot cards that if you got your hands on, you'd definitely get a chunk of cash from it. So this one this single card I sold for $25 US, which is basically $30 Canadian. And the shipping was probably 80 cents on that, 80 to 85 cents. So you can imagine that was like free money, basically. Let's go to another example. This one's kind of small because there's lots of items on here. Might be kind of blurry. Let me zoom out. Okay, if you can't see it, I'm just gonna say it to you guys. So basically, there's a bunch of cards here. Right, you see a lot. There's a lot listed. Grand total was $67.20. So I sold a bunch of $0 balance cards for $67 US. If you convert that, that's probably close to $80 Canadian. Shipping was probably $10. I remember this one being international. It was either Singapore, Indonesia, or Malaysia. So shipping was probably $10, but still, I mean, you're probably profiting at least $50 on that. So that is the examples I wanted to show you guys. I did do this, it was for real, and I want to share it with you guys. So thank you so much for listening to my story and taking a look at the proof I've got for you. I'll see you in the next video.